Welcome back, everyone. Our next guest is a member of a powerful group making a difference right here in Atlanta. She joins us now in our community connection. Please welcome the principal consultant at Theisen Consulting and member of the Global Women's Leadership Council of Women United, Terri Theisen. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we're excited that you're here, and let's talk about your philanthropy.
My philanthropy has really been informed by the rest of my life. I think that everyone's philanthropy comes from a place within you of things you want to do, things you want to make a difference, things you care about in the world.
Yeah.
And I got involved with United Way because my son was born with cerebral palsy in 1981, and he was helped by a United Way funded center. That gave him a great start in life.
Yeah.
And so that really got me started in thinking about, what do I do to give back? And I was a young professional at the time without many resources, but I learned at that time that you don't have to have a lot of money to be a philanthropist. You can volunteer, you can give what you can, and you can start working on behalf of your community with what you have.
Sure, good for you. And tell me about the United Way of Greater Atlanta's Child Wellbeing Agenda. That's something you're passionate about.
Absolutely. So about 2.5 years ago, the United Way went through a comprehensive strategic planning process and adopted what we now call the Child Wellbeing Agenda, which is measured by a Child Wellbeing Index. That index measures how children are doing in our community. Our community has about 1.3 million children in it. 500,000 of those children live in less than ideal circumstances and need our help. And so United Way started measuring things like third grade reading scores, which are already being measured by school districts, but came up with this index to say, could we really move the proverbial needle for at least half of those kids over the next 10 years to make a real difference, lifting children out of poverty, lifting scores, helping kids do better, so they do better in life.
Right, and then how can we get involved? If somebody out there is listening and feels passionate about that as well, how can we be like you and step in and make a difference?
So United Way has several ways to get involved. There's really, if you think about 3 different prongs, how we talk about it is give, advocate, volunteer. So under giving, for women that we're here to talk about today, our women's philanthropy initiatives, women can be involved at several levels. We have the Women of Coal Society for women who give at $1,000 or more. We have the Women of Tocqueville, who are a little higher level of donation. But even if you don't give at those levels, there are things you can volunteer to do to be part of it. And even if you do give, you can still volunteer. And our advocacy is really important, because advocacy to change public policy is how all those needles get moved for those kids in our community, in addition to giving and volunteering.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to ask that. How have you seen, have you seen a growing trend that your volunteer efforts are moving that needle some over the last few years that you have been so involved with United Way?
Yeah, we have a wonderful success story example. There are many, but the largest one to talk about today is the passage of Safe Harbor Yes, a state, an amendment to the Georgia Constitution. Amendments to the Constitution in a state don't pass very often, and they're difficult to get done. But our women volunteers came together and said, you know, human trafficking is really a serious problem. President Carter spoke to one of our women's groups in 2014 and really challenged all of us to do something about it. So our women's group organized a coalition of other women's organizations. This was a statewide effort led by 2 of our key volunteers, Avia Goldie and Robin Roberts.
I love Avia. Yeah, she's such. I met her actually through one of the outreaches, and have never looked back. She's like, you've got to get involved in this. She's so incredible.
Yeah, they did an amazing job, and so they led this initiative, and they mounted a statewide campaign to raise awareness about the impact of human trafficking on our children and what's happening.
What's happening right here in Atlanta,
And that led to other things. Some of our major companies who are United Way partners now have internal initiatives that can help women. UPS has an initiative, Delta has an initiative. Several of these organizations that are tied to United Way have really taken up the mantle as well. But the amendment passed, and now we're in the phase of getting the work funded, because the amendment was meant to help victims of human trafficking put their lives back together.
Right, right. It's incredible. Congratulations for that. That is
great.
No small feat. And then tell me, I want to make sure we get to this event, May 10th, mark your calendars, Leading a Life of Purpose. That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, we're in our 7th year of Leading a Life of Purpose. It's an event where we interview women leaders. This year it'll feature Dr. Maria Karstarfen from the Atlanta Public Schools. She's the superintendent. Mary Brock, who is the co-owner of the Atlanta Dream. And we will have a great conversation about their lives, their philanthropy, and how that works. If women want to get involved in that event, they can volunteer, they can become donors, they can go to the United Way website to register.
Okay, good.
And be involved.
And once again, it's May 10th.
May 10th.
And just go to the website if you'd like to sign up or figure out how you can be involved one way or the other.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And you're actually making a big announcement. Can you give us a teaser of what's happening there?
Yes, I can. So I serve on the United Way Worldwide Women's Leadership Council that represents 80,000 women donors within the United Way system. And I represent our United Way in that group. And the wonderful thing about that is many people don't realize that the United Way Women's Philanthropy Movement started right here in Atlanta.
Really?
It was started by 3 women here
I love that.
in 1999, and now it has grown to 165 United Ways in 7 countries around the world.
That is unbelievable.
And we are going to be making an announcement at Leading a Life of Purpose about how that movement will continue to galvanize. I mean, the one thing I will say,
chills. It's such good news.
well, women are the fastest growing segment of United Way donors.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's right. And we want you to be a part of it as well. And any final words, once again, on how they can get tickets to the event? UnitedWayAtlanta.org, Leading a Life of Purpose websites. Please join us and meet some new friends, see some old friends, and hear how you can be a philanthropist, because anybody can be a philanthropist. You don't have to be extremely wealthy to participate in our community. Well, you are such an inspiration. Thank you so much for coming here and taking the time out to make us more aware of the wonderful work that United Way is doing. If you would like more information, simply visit UnitedWayAtlanta.org. Yes, I love to hear
Thank you
that.
so much.
Thank you.